Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing Julio Jones to go play with Tom Brady. The Buccaneers now have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, Cameron Brate, Kyle Ruldolph, Leonard Fournette, and Rachaad White as the weapons on offense. On paper, the Buccaneers offense looks as good as any in terms of depth and who their quarterback is, which is obviously Tom Brady. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. What is your reaction to the Buccaneers signing Julio Jones? And my response to that is, wow, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just got better as a football team. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now already look like NFC contenders. And I got to say this for the Buccaneers right now. With the addition of Julio Jones, now the Buccaneers have the most accomplished wide receiver room. You look at Mike Evans. He's gotten 1,000 yards every year in his playing career. You look at Chris Godwin, one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Then you got Julio Jones in the slot. We know what Julio Jones can do. I watched Julio Jones play twice a year against my Panthers, and he always gassed up the Carolina Panthers. I know that Julio Jones has been healthy in recent memory, but even so, this is a good risk for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to take, because if it doesn't work out, guess what? They still got Russell Gage, a very underrated slot receiver. They got Scotty Miller, an underrated slot receiver as well. If Julio Jones happens to work out, this is basically a bonus for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that means that the Buccaneers are going to be 5 deep at wide receiver. You can never have enough wide receivers in today's NFL. On this show, I always talk about how quarterbacks often win games for their teams, and having an elite quarterback means that they need to be able to win games consistently, and that's exactly what they have in place with the Buccaneers, because Tom Brady is obviously the GOAT. He's still an elite quarterback. He finished second in MVP voting, and the fact that he has all these great receivers that he gets to play with, just incredible to see. Even though this has come from a Panthers fan, I hate saying this, but Julio Jones to the Buccaneers makes them a better football team. And don't forget about their tight end room. They got Cameron Brate, they got Kyle Ruldolph. They're 2 deep at tight end, and they got Leonard Fournette running the football. I know that Leonard Fournette, I'm hearing that he's overweight right now, but if Leonard Fournette can get himself into shape at the beginning of the season, the Buccaneers have themselves a power back, and they also got a receiving back in Rachaad White. That's a rookie running back that they drafted in the 2022 NFL draft. He's going to make an impact for them. I like the guy. He can make plays happen. So when you look at this Bucs roster on the offensive side of the ball, I'm like, dang, they are stacked all over the place, and they are just loaded. And they also got an elite offensive line too. You're talking about Tristan Wirfs, one of the best offensive linemen in the game today. I mean, the Buccaneers, they're just stacked as far as concerned. I mean, when you look at this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, I know that they lost Rob Gronkowski to retirement, but dang, they still got so many weapons on that side of the ball. On offense, you look at the NFC, there's really only 4 to 5 teams that I'm really convinced that are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I mean, you're looking at the Los Angeles Rams. They're still Super Bowl contenders. You're looking at the Green Bay Packers. As long as they have number 12 in green and gold, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. You talk about reigning back-to-back MVP guy in Aaron Rodgers. Then you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're a dark horse Super Bowl contending team. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as long as Tom Brady's on your team, you're a Super Bowl contender. And with the team that Tom Brady has right now, they're Super Bowl contenders. So there are the teams that I'm talking about that are in the tiers of being able to contend for Super Bowls. And then maybe the San Francisco 49ers, although they're moving on to Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's no longer going to be their starter for them. I like Trey Lance. Trey Lance can make plays happen. And if he can improve in his development, I mean, really all he has to do is be better than Jimmy G, and they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I like Jimmy G more than most people, but Jimmy G, we know that he's not a great quarterback. We know that he's not necessarily even a good quarterback. On his best day, he's an average quarterback that can get streaky. And I would be surprised if Trey Lance is not better than an average quarterback, because Trey Lance has all the tools he needs to succeed. And even if he isn't all that, guess what? He's got George Kittle as his tight end. He's a top 3 tight end in the league. He's got Deebo Samuel, a top 5 to 10 receiver in the game today. Brandon Ayuk's also a pretty good number 2 wide receiver. And he's also got Kyle Shanahan calling the plays for him in San Francisco, as well as an elite defense. So San Francisco, maybe they're Super Bowl contenders as long as Trey Lance lives up to what he's supposed to live up to. So those are just some Super Bowl contenders that I'm listing out in the NFC. I mean, it's really not all that much. You're looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have the best roster in the NFC when you're just looking at on paper. I mean, honestly, the only thing that's going to stop the Buccaneers from being completely dominant on the offensive side is if everybody on the Buccaneers get injured. And I want to talk about Julio Jones. I want to talk about his contract real quick. He's getting signed for a 1-year deal. It's worth $6 million in base salary. It could max out at $8 million depending on incentives. I mean, look, even if Julio Jones doesn't work out, the Buccaneers are still 4 deep at wide receiver, and they still got elite receivers on the outside. They have very good slot receivers, and they're 2 deep at tight end, and they also got good running backs and a good offensive line. So even if Julio Jones doesn't work out, it's a whatever move. But I think this move's going to work out, assuming that Julio Jones can stay healthy. If Julio Jones can stay healthy, watch out, because the Buccaneers, they got weapons all over the place. Imagine if Julio Jones goes back into prime Julio. Could you imagine how defenses are going to be able to guard Mike Evans, who's gotten 1,000 yards every year he's been in the NFL? How are you going to guard the speedy Chris Godwin? And how are you going to guard Julio Jones in the slot? Could you imagine putting a slot corner on Julio Jones one-on-one while healthy? I mean, my goodness, that slot corner would get smoked by Julio Jones every single play. No matter what route you're calling for Julio Jones is beating that slot corner off, assuming that Julio Jones can stay healthy. Look, I understand that he's not what he once was, but Julio Jones is still a high-impact player. Everybody's been trashing on Julio, saying he's washed. But look, Ryan Tannehill was his quarterback in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is not that good of a quarterback. Is he better than somebody like a Marcus Mariota? Yeah, he's better than a Marcus Mariota. But I mean, come on, Ryan Tannehill, on his best day, he's an average quarterback. Tom Brady is obviously better than average. Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's still an elite quarterback in the NFL. I love this addition for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, signing Julio Jones. It's almost unfair to even think about. And even if Julio Jones gets hurt, it won't even matter because the Buccaneers still have a good team. Julio Jones is just basically like a bonus player for the Buccaneers at this point. And to think that Julio Jones could be signed as a wide receiver 3, that's just completely wild to me. Because back in 2016, basically when I was getting into football and all that, we were talking about Julio Jones as possibly the best wide receiver in football. I know he's fallen off a little bit, but to hear Julio Jones be a number 3 wide receiver, that just sounds kind of wild to me. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And to think that Tom Brady and Julio Jones with that connection, man, that's going to be nasty because Tom Brady's got a cannon for an arm and he's going to be able to sling that football all over the field. He's going to sling it to Mike Evans. He's going to sling it to Chris Godwin. He's going to sling it to Russell Gage in the slot. He's going to sling it to Scotty Miller. He's going to sling it to Julio Jones over a slot corner. I mean, all over the place. Receivers are going to be open everywhere for the Buccaneers. I mean, honestly, if Tom Brady doesn't get past the wild card round with this team, I'm honestly going to be kind of disappointed in Tom Brady at age 45 just because this is a crew that is amazing at catching the football. He's got weapons all over the place. I mean, my goodness, I just feel overloaded with this Buccaneers team. And when you look at this Bucs team, I honestly think that they could get off to a hot start. If you told me that the Buccaneers start out 8-0 this upcoming season, I would not be surprised. Now, do I think that they're going to start 8-0? No, they're not going to start out 8-0. But I think that they could realistically start out 6-2. If you told me that they started 6-2, I'd be like, you know what? That's 1,000% believable. This Bucs team is just stacked on paper. They're going to win at least 12 games this season, maybe even more if they can get some things going in their way. But they're going to win 12 games at a minimum. I mean, really, the only concern that the Buccaneers have right now is that when Tom Brady doesn't have Rob Gronkowski, he's not all that by his standards. That's what I'm trying to say. But adding Julio Jones, it only helps Tom Brady. I can't see how it's going to hurt the Bucs. I'm just amazed how they've convinced Julio Jones to go play for the Buccaneers. I can't believe that Julio Jones was on the free agent market for that long either. Julio Jones is still a productive number 2 wide receiver. I know that he's always hurt, but it's a good risk to take. And for the Buccaneers, it virtually serves no risk because if Julio Jones gets hurt, they got plenty of depth at the receiver position. I'm just wowed that the Buccaneers were able to snag Julio Jones for only $6 million for 1 year. That's just incredible to me, especially when you see the receiver market exploding the way that it has. So for Julio Jones to only get $6 million on the open market, that's just crazy to me. And this is a very good move for the Buccaneers. I got to give this move an A+ for them. As for Julio Jones, I'm going to give this an A+ too because he's not going to get double teamed on this Bucs team. If he gets double teamed, that's going to leave Mike Evans one-on-one. That's going to leave Chris Godwin one-on-one. That's going to leave everybody else one-on-one. And if you leave Julio Jones one-on-one, assuming that Julio can stay healthy, he's going to gas up that corner all day long. He's going to gas up that safety. He's going to gas up that linebacker. It's not even fair almost. So that's just kind of where I'm at. So I'm just, again, wowed by the fact that the Buccaneers were able to sign Julio Jones. Now, do I think that the Buccaneers could go back to the Super Bowl? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not quite sure where I'm at right now just because I don't know where this Bucs team is without Bruce Arians as their head coach. Now they got Todd Bowles as head coach. I do like Todd Bowles kind of, but he's not as good as Bruce Arians, so that is a question mark. Either way, though, this Buccaneers team is going to steamroll the NFC South. They're going to win this division rather easily, and they should be able to at least get to the divisional round just because they got Tom Brady at quarterback and those weapons that they got. Again, I'm just amazed with what they got, and as well as being able to snag Julio Jones. This is a win-win for all sides involved in this. The Buccaneers, they get a former All-Pro receiver that gets to play as a slot receiver. And as for Julio Jones, now he gets a chance to possibly revive his career with the GOAT Tom Brady. So that is why the Buccaneers signing Julio Jones was a very good move for them, as he makes the Buccaneers a better football team right now. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinS.Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin S. Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin S. Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.